that originally planned. But have you been to a board of equalization prior to this? Okay.
First time.
What we do as a board of equalization is the assessor's office is required by state statute. Have you met with them?
Yeah, I spoke with them.
Okay.
Yesterday,
It has required by state statute to appraise all properties at current market value each year. They do that, send out the notice if you disagree, you can come to amicable agreement, have the right to appeal that to us. We'll listen to any things you would have on other sales, proof of why you don't think it is. We'll let them defend their assessment. And then come to a decision. If you're not happy with that, you also have another level to appeal, which is the state board of tax appeals. They come here, you don't have to go to Boise. And I will give you all the information. You have like 28 days to file an appeal on that. And that'll be a de novo trial. And what that is, that means that you can get all the evidence here, and if you don't have enough to convince us, for example, you can bring it to the state board. We'll put them to come up with that. So first we need to put everybody under oath. So do each of you solemnly swear that you tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Commissioner Walker, I'm Commissioner Christensen.
So I'm Dustin Barrett. I'm the assessor, and this is Julia Trout. She's the chief deputy assessor and our valuation supervisor.
Okay, so I'm going to see what you're doing. Compared to other properties. Okay. So do you have any other properties that you're comparing it to?
I really do not have other properties to properties that started which the house increase is far higher quicker pace than we expect. And so 2 days ago, as the probably explained the assessment process, and I appreciate that. And then yesterday was called to have this meeting, and so I did a quick online search, and I found did something, and they put these few things. I think sorry, I have
You're okay.
That. We want me to explain everything. Okay, so the first page from the website talk about the Idaho Falls overview. We just look at the from July 2021. That's what coming from the screen, and it does have the trend to go up in 2021 and then 2022, and then come down. And if you go to the second joint page, this also shows the price increase, and the third is the table I put together myself, because these are all the just the lines, not the numbers. So when talk is asking, I have only the insurance amount I can use, but solid number to compare with these. So if you look at this table, from 2017 until 2023. The last two columns is the insurance, what they are going to pay me if I lost the house. That's the full amount from 370K and in 2022 that's 424K, and then 2023 this year they assessed the 490K. So basically they have the pretty standard rate to increase that amount. But I think if you look at the chart before, they do things try to reflect the price housing price increase. And then if we look for the zero home, the first two columns are the zero home value index for single family, and I use the each every January of the year what's the amount over there. If you look at the index over there, in Idaho Falls area, it also increased from 188,000 to 378,000. That's the home value index. So if you can also see their number and increase degree from each year over there. And then the middle part is the Bonneville assessment. I put them from the assessment notice, put them here, and you can see the increase from the assessment over there. And you can see that the increase from 2021 to 2022, there's a big jump with a 35% increase. And then last year when I received that, I thought it is higher than I expect, but I think it's still closer to what the market, and I didn't take time to hear that. I think it is close to what we to the market. And then this year there is another 15% increase, and I saw that that's too much. It's already nearly to 700,000, and I don't see that price from the market even in last year. So if you compare, so the assessment divided by index, because the index is on the overall area, but if you divide the assessment value by the index, we can kind of see how this compared from the market analysis organization and with our assessment. So if you can see that the first 2 years, that's 1.7, 1.6 around that time, and then this year it jumps from 1.5 to 1.8. So then I think that that's what. So from I know I appreciate the county assessor and your efforts to try to get a fair market value, but I know you are doing that for all the families. That's a lot of job, a lot of work. I know that. So I put this the zero that the home value index, they are not trying to benefit what every others are. So I think they are kind of a middle or more objective or kind of objective analysis company over there. And the insurance company, they are a commercial company. They want us to pay more if we can tolerate, right? So they are trying to get more from us. So their insurance assessment usually is usually it should be higher than the counties or like the zeros that they don't do. So from both of those, for the insurance company from 21 to 22, there's a 16% jump, and then another 16 from 22 to 23. And if you look at the assessment from the county, there's a 35% jump from 21 to 22. That's kind of already covered for both years if you compare to the insurance. And if you compare to the zero home value index, there's another big jump from 1.5 to 1.8. And as in my appeal page, I said, I saw that the home market value is more closer to like 550,000 or like that, closer to that. So that's why I'm asking you or commissioner to consider whether this 680,000 reflects the market price, and I think it should be closer to 550 rather than 700,000. Yeah.
All right, listen, if you got one of these, look all the costs. Okay. Do you want to run through?
Yeah, so first I just want to express that we are required by state to be at market value. Unfortunately, we're not able to do kind of a trending method, or in the sense that we're not looking at the generic increase or decrease of the county as a whole and determining what the values would be. Each value of each home should reflect the market value each year. So in looking kind of over the Zillow and Movoto information, it's difficult, one, to know what metrics they're utilizing and coming up with those, and two, we can't, even if we could verify and make sure that those are the correct, we don't value based on what the overall or basis. We are required for each individual value, assessed value, to be at market value. So we are looking at comparable homes for each individual property. As far as the insurance costs, it's again difficult for us to utilize your insurance costs, and I understand your concern.
Insurance costs for replacement costs.
Exactly, and it may be based off of
anything else.
what it also may be based off of current building material costs. It's just difficult to know how they're arriving at that value. So what we utilize is actual market sales when we're determining the value, and that's what you'll find here. And Jillian will go through some of the comparable sales that are there. We've included images that we believe are comparable.
Okay, so as I was looking through these, like that, I tried to find ones that I felt were as comparable as I could. I narrowed it down to 2 or 3 years as far as year bill on either side of that home. Square feet within like 100 square feet of either side, plus and minus on the size of the home. Quality, they were all the same as far as our system, so they're all being kind of lumped in that category. When I take an average of those, that average dollar per square foot comes in at $253.78, or no, $274.11, and yours is coming in at $253.78. So there's about $20 a square foot difference between the average and what you're being valued at. I will say that you do have one of the bigger lots. In fact, except for one, it looks like yours is it's bigger than all of them except for that one. The land in Fairway, we did have land sales this last year that increased the value for lots in Fairway. We had the little 1/4 of an acre lots that we had at about 90 grand is what people paid for them. So one that's almost half an acre, that was, more than the 90,000.
What's theirs, about a half an acre?
About a half
Little over
acre.
half.
Yeah,
So an acre is 43,000 square feet for a 3x60 and there 24,000.
so they probably saw an increase in their land value also this year.
Yeah, went from 88 to 111.
And that's because of those little lots over in the corner of Fairway that were selling for 90,000.
And don't you, when you assess, lot value, you take the per square foot and then multiply by.
Yeah,
square
and
foot.
especially in Fairway, one thing that we do run into is those that sit on the golf course tend to sell for a little bit higher than those that don't. So he is being compared to those ones over on the other side that don't have that golf course influence on it. So there's no limit for that.
No. One thing I noticed on the Zillow, and I use Zillow, rental properties and things like that. You have 380 active homes. You don't know if those are bigger, smaller. You just lump them all in together and take a generic trend. But I do commend you for the research you've done on that. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, the home value index is trying to use one number, but I understand that you cannot use that.
Right.
But it is a reference standpoint, and I think it should be a good point as a mind.
Yeah, looking through these comparables, they seem like they're fairly comparable to the style and site of your home.
One thing that when 2 days ago I was trying to have this so that I can look at more details before my meeting. But yesterday, after this meeting was scheduled, I called again. Because we said it's difficult to give you this before the meeting, so I just saw this. So first, I believe this they are all cheap. But your asset value. One thing I want to because here I'm not very familiar with those three, so I think the really but I know that for the home value or the subdivision, you said the our house on the golf course and is higher than maybe higher than average, and is also my experience with my friends moving out. I don't think our house comparable or higher than those in both of the divisions, subdivisions out of some side. The South Point. Again, I think I'm not very familiar with those division, but I know that in the house in that area they could sell much higher than in house.
And I will say none of these are south of Sunnyside. I think you and I discussed that as well. I think you're thinking of like South Point area.
Not only that, like in Waterford.
So Waterford is actually right. It is just south of Sunnyside, but
yes.
it's basically that subdivision that's just south, like right next to Stonebrook.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not the one like South Point.
Yeah.
Not South Point. South Point, I know.
Yes.
Have a market. Is another step higher than others in that Stonebrook or Waterford. But if you look at it, I believe probably only the first one ever. That one in our subdivision or in our subdivision. That's the most comparable one.
And I was looking at that,
Okay.
and it's 7-year-old home, 200 square foot smaller,
Mhm.
And the lots half the size.
and a lot of smaller.
Yeah.
When you look at the detail, I was seeing And it's a very nice home. You can tell it's a little more, it's a little older. A little older style.
Yeah,
And I would honestly say that these other divisions, including Waterford, I do feel like they're comparable subdivisions. You know, they've got obviously some nicer homes and some that are a little more scaled down, just like we have in Fairway. I wouldn't view Fairway as a lesser subdivision to any of these. I do recognize that we do have areas like South Point where that front, those first few divisions of South Point are much nicer homes generally. They're not going to show up in a comparable like this because they're not comparable homes. But I would say in this instance, every single one of these divisions would be comparable.
and okay, yeah. I want to argue with you because I'm not expert on what's but I still think what I provide another angle of view, and I think also very should be very good argument.
Right. And I agree. The challenge we face is that going back to the large, it's a generic trend, you know, of the whole county, you know, a snapshot of the whole county, and it's not taking into account the larger homes, the smaller. It's an average, essentially, kind of an average trend, and that's difficult for us to utilize information like that when we're trying to pinpoint. It's certainly a metric that we can utilize, but when we're actually comparing, we're looking at actual homes that have sold that are comparable in size, quality, condition, and year ago.
And like cost of living index, they say it's 8%. I think you look at meat, groceries, the double digits, look at gas or double digits. Others maybe lower, but it all comes in an average. And I think they're looking for the specific and breaking it down.
About the risk home value index, I know there's a general and overall index, not like anything else. But that's why I'm not using their single family value like 370,000 for our home. But if you use their ratio, that could reflect something over there. Yeah. So that big jump from usual 1.5, less than 1.6 jump over to 1.8. I think that's a very good point. I think you are overstating our house value.
But see what they're doing on this, is taking all of the similar homes and then finding an average per square foot cost. And it appears like you're 10% below that average. You're $253 a square foot. And the average of all those other sales, these are actual sales, is 274, which is about close to 10% lower.
And
lower than the average.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Use this average of that, but really for this, I think only the first one is really close to the location. And if you look at their, I know our houses are bigger than theirs, have a bigger loss. But if you use their price per square foot is more is a better value to be used to rather than just average in others. So if other you can higher than 290, 284, those are also the market price, which means the house in those areas, they are higher than in ours. So when you get them averaged together, that's what how all this difference comes out. Yeah, if you use the price per square foot with the closest to our house, and then use the price per square foot, removes the difference between the square feet and between our house. And then you can increase those
But
visuals.
also looking at your bill, that one's.
Yeah, so I,
5 years older than.
Yeah, it may be closer in location, but I feel like the one at 2,300 square feet and the one at 2,178 square feet that were built within a year or 3 years are maybe more comparable homes. You're right that the one in Fairway is obviously the most comparable location because it's in the same location. But I also think it's the one of the least comparable homes. If you're going to, I mean, if you're going to pull specific homes out rather than going by an average, I feel like those homes that are more close in age and close in size would be better comparables. Again, I don't feel like a home in Fairway is going to sell for less than a home in any of these other divisions. They don't. These divisions aren't nicer divisions than Fairway. I think a lot of times a Fairway division is actually more desirable. It's a subdivision with the golf course right there, and generally we will see those homes sell for a bit more. I think it's, in this instance, if you were to utilize one of those cells that's a more similar in size and age, that would be a more comparable home than a home that's 200 square feet smaller in Fairway and 7 years older.
about the year view, it's that I agree that it is a factor of the selling price. But if you look at the other, all the other five price, you cannot see that. The 2003 ones, that's 285, the 2008, that's 269. And so I still think you should use the most closable property to compare with. And I agree that if that 7 years is a factor over there, for example, you put everything together and average them and then take about nearly 10% decrease. And what if you take the average and take a small increase from there? I don't know. If that's 2040, and then you could get closer to what we think, or
Any other things, John, you got any questions?
No, I agree with the comps that the assessors used. I think they're more realistic and appropriate for the houses in that subdivision. I feel your pain. We all do. All of our values have gone up the same way, although mine hasn't gone up as much as the assessor's home has. So that makes me feel better.
And I agree. I mean, knowing the method, been through quite a few of these, and so we understand the method that they're required to use. I think what they've got here is fair. So I'm going to recommend we uphold what they've got, based on the fact that I think they treated you pretty fairly. You're 10% below the per square foot average on the sales. It's very difficult, and I'm familiar with some of those subdivisions, the one on Tuscany Drive and Waterford. And this is just a personal opinion. I think that's a less desirable neighborhood to sell a house in Fairway Estates.
East River Commons is about a mile north from you guys. So it's in a subdivision really close to Fairway. It's a little bit further north, but that one on Commons Road, it's a 2020 square foot home. Sold at $290 a square foot. It's not in Fairway, but it's close to you guys. It's a little further north from you guys. But again, I would say that's probably less desirable.
Less than a mile from the north side of.
Yeah.
I think you have a better view, I think. There is reason not.
Anyway, John,
Well, if it's okay with the chair, I'd make a motion that we accept or agree with the assessor and his assessment on this property.
I'll second that. So we are doing, we got their evaluation along with that. Now that we do have this, like I said, it's a normal trial, you can come back, you can research this, you can find, and I think they'd be happy to look up other addresses that you can find on homes that you feel are similar. You go to the MLS, go to the lowest sold, and try to find some, and they can run the same comparison on those, and if it comes out any different, you'll have a chance to appeal that to the state. We'll get this decision with you in the mail, along with the form that shows you how to appeal. And if you don't make sure you look at that closely, because you have 28 days. You fill that out if you want to schedule a hearing with the state, and then they can be here in one of the county buildings. We don't know where it is. We got flooded out with that last big rain.
Mine.
Yeah, so that's why we're up here in temporary offices. Other than that,
Can you really look at this assessment
these will be
ratio?
these will be part of the record that you can take and make that argument. State, we have to give the weight on what they're required to do by statute versus more general generic thing, which this doesn't fit into the statute as far as coming up with the comparable to get it to market value. Trends are interesting, but on my rental homes, I watch those all the time. They change from month to month, and then they show you what you can rent it for. So, and we're all frustrated with taxes. Basically, more months of rent, pay taxes than we used to. So,
John, can I use your stamp?
Yes,
okay, if you want to follow Kayla out, she can get you a copy of this, and then you got a copy of the field form, and then we'll also follow it up with the letter. Okay, thank you. You get another weekend.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, John.
You want to show up?
Yeah.
Recording.
Nice to meet you guys.